what makes a woman attractive in long-term relationship?
There would be a few things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that comes to mind is someone who is not only genuine but remains genuine, as in it becomes more obvious that they are actually the person that you originally met on that first date without changing so much. Yeah, because I think it just reinforces that, yeah, you are genuine and you weren't just putting a mask on or pretending to be someone else to attract a relationship. And then once you're comfortable, okay, the mask can come off and I can go back to my true self, which is not who I originally thought. So I think someone who remains genuine, it's very reassuring. Okay, you weren't just putting on a mask and playing pretend from the start to sort of lure me and yeah, the longer you remain genuine, it just sort of it feels nice knowing that, yeah, you actually were this person who I originally fell for in the beginning, you know?
That makes so much sense because actually I recently did a video about attachment style. It's morely about anxious and avoidant attachment style, right?
Yes.
So lots of anxious people tend to pretend like they are not anxious when their guy is not texting them on time. But because they pretend and like they are okay with this behavior of his, this guy thinks that, oh, she's so perfect for me because she gives me space. She doesn't care that I'm not all over her.
Yeah.
But as an anxious person, your basic need in relationship at the end is to get that secureness, emotional closeness with your partner. But when you start to seek the emotional closeness, avoidant guy start to pull away from you because he thinks you deceived him. At the beginning, you were a different person, but now you're not.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
anxious people think avoidant people did something wrong to them, but to begin with, you were not authentic with him. And obviously he will pull away because you're not the person he fell for. Yeah, and I think this conversation like makes so much sense in that way as well.
But I think that being genuine can reflect itself in a few different areas of your life. Like if you present yourself at the start as a well-kept fitness person, someone like who likes to eat healthy or whatever it may be, but then you get too comfortable and you stop taking care of yourself, or you start to lose sense of your values or like your health that you used to be so enthusiastic about. That reflects to me that maybe you weren't so genuine all the time.
Yeah.
So like there's a few different ways you can look at it.
Yeah, that one also makes sense because lots of people, once they get in a relationship, they start to neglect themselves and then they stop working out because they get so comfortable with their partner. And it feels like they were just working out to attract someone in their life, not for themselves.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's such a bad reason to like take care of yourself. And then not just about workout as well, like even the way they take care of themselves. Like in the beginning, how much effort you used to put in yourself to look better for your partner.
Yeah.
But if you don't do that just because you're in long-term relationship, I think I personally find that very unattractive in someone I'm dating.
Yeah.
If we've been dating for a long time, but if you just let go of yourself, you stopped working out, you stopped grooming yourself, then I would not find you attractive. Honestly, it will make me eek because I'd be like, this is not a person that I fell in love with.
Yeah, for sure. And there's definitely like a physical attractive aspect of that. And I agree. I think a lot of people could relate to that. But that seems to also come back to being like a genuine person. Like we all know that everyone ages and it may be harder to keep fit as you get older. But it doesn't mean you just completely give up.
Yeah.
Especially if you were supposedly into keeping fit when you were younger. And then, oh, I'm too old, it's too hard now. It's like, well, hang on. I mean, that was part of who you are.
So what are the other things?
Be comfortable with each other, but not too comfortable that you're expecting to be completely bonded. Like, acknowledge that you're still individuals and that men still like to be independent and do things by themselves. Even though you've been together for so long, you should still acknowledge that the other person is an individual.
Yeah.
And they have their own life.
Yeah.
And they may need some alone time.
Yeah, that makes sense because I think lots of anxious people tend to kind of mold themselves in relationship, and then there is no space. Like as an individual, everyone needs space. Like even if you're anxious, you need your personal space. But because you're anxious and you find self-worth through your partner or relationship, you put too much value in the relationship to the point that you neglect yourself completely. You start to identify yourself with the relationship.
Yeah,
That when
absolutely.
the person pulls away, you feel like part of you is pulling away from you. And that's because you don't have sense of self.
Yeah.
But if
That's right,
you had formed the idea of individuality, then you wouldn't be like suffocating your partner to the point. I think that is what keeps relationship interesting. If someone finds relationship boring, what they need to do is not complain that their partner is boring. I think they need to do something individually, something they enjoy doing without their partner. And then once you've done something crazy by yourself and your partner has done something crazy by themselves,
Yes.
when you come together, you have so many things to share.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
that is what keeps relationships so interesting. So what are the other things?
Well, that sort of leads into the other one, which would be to not lose interest in the other person's life. You know what they enjoy doing and the things they do, and you know all about them, their music taste, their hobbies, things they like doing individually. Separately, I'm sure it's going to get to a point where, say, you're into bike riding or football or skydiving or something, and you're not necessarily into his individual thing. You might just assume that every time he goes away, it's the same thing. Oh, it's just another football game. Oh, it's just another bike ride. Like, that's just what he does. Oh, it's just another skydive. It could be the same thing. But in his world, like, that football game could be crazy and completely different. Or the bike ride could be special, like something could have happened. He could have been really good, could have been really bad. Something could have happened on his skydiving trip or something. So don't lose interest in like his individual things that he's off doing by himself. When he comes back, be enthusiastic and ask about it and listen. If he said, oh, nothing happened, fair enough. But if like you sort of have to be inquisitive about it to begin with.
I think you have to be genuinely interested in someone you're in a relationship with and what they're doing. Because like you're skydiving, there's always interesting thing happening because you're like up leveling in your skydiving things and you used to be a skydiver, but now you're wingsuiter.
Yeah.
But from my point of view, I was someone who didn't know anything about skydiving and I could think of it like, oh, he's just doing skydiving. But you are so passionate about it and you think of it as like something that's really meaningful or that brings so much enjoyment in your life. That's like something very big for you.
Yeah.
But if I'm like not interested in something that you're interested in, it doesn't have to be like I have to do skydiving with you.
Exactly.
But just like in conversation, if I'm not enthusiastic about your passion, I think there's no support in relationship, no encouragement in relationship,
Absolutely.
as well misinterest in relationship.
Pretty much, because there's a reason why people get really into the things they do. There's a reason why I love it and other people love all their hobbies. So it's obviously very important to them.
Yeah.
So I think what's important to them you should be enthusiastic about, or at least somewhat interested in.
And I think it doesn't have to be I am enthusiastic about skydiving. It has to be I'm enthusiastic about your passion in skydiving.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Like, I'm genuinely interested in you. I'm genuinely interested in what you are doing, how this thing is making your life better.
Other things, kind of similar to my previous point, but it would be don't stop caring about the other person.
I don't know if we're on the same point on this, but I think like suppose. So I'm on my period and you know how bad cramps I get all the time. I'm like crazy cramps, right? And I get every month. And like just because it happens to me every month doesn't mean that, oh, this is a normal thing. It's going to be better in few days. I don't have to take care of it. You should genuinely care for your partner. That is what love is like. So I think love is a choice. And choosing to love your partner in his bad days and also good days is what love is. It's not always going to be cheerful. It's not always going to be interesting. It's not always going to be like exciting. But no matter what, you choose to love your partners. And that is what relationship is. Like, just because your partner is going through a hard phase, you're like, oh, I can't deal with this right now, and you give up, then clearly it's not love. I think there should be a limit in it. Like, if you're going through something, but you're harming me because you're going through something,
Yeah, exactly.
then that's like me having to choose between myself and you.
Yeah.
And I think everyone should always choose them first more than anyone else. Like, that's just what I think, no matter how selfish it sounds. Can we talk about the communication thing you were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Why do you think women shouldn't assume things in relationships?
Well, because men and women think very differently at times. Men can sometimes think in very black and white terms, like if it's not specified, then it's not a thing.
Oh, the book Sapiens.
Mm.
Remember, like, man sees thing in a wide focus, and woman sees thing in narrow focus.
Yes, and you can focus on the detail of things a lot more.
If you don't tell man what do you need, what do you want, what you're going through in detail, and make him understand what's really happening, that he cannot see it. Suppose, like, you did something and it is bothering me. And if I don't communicate that with you and just assume that he should understand this, he should know that he did something wrong and this is making me feel bad, you cannot tell.
Yes, but I would say we can tell when something's wrong. We notice the change in how you act or your mood. Like, we pick up on that, but we don't necessarily know why. And we think, you should just tell us why. So sometimes we can notice, but we're oblivious as to why.
Yeah, makes sense. I think it's same with the woman then. Like, if you're going through something and you don't tell me what's happening, then I would be constantly worried. Something happened to you that you don't want to talk about with me. You don't have to talk about that with me if you're not comfortable right now, but you have to tell me there is something wrong. And that way, like, I don't have to assume that you are going to do something because I did something wrong. I think that just releases so much pressure in relationship. If I were to not communicate with you and just assume that you have to understand, relationships are just supposed to work out by itself without communicating, and it should be easy. Like, there should be rules, like that man should understand what I'm going through. Then no, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna build up later on, because you're so resentful about what he has done to you, that it's gonna come up in relationship in very bad ways later on. Something like how you would get annoyed at traffic used to bother me a lot in the beginning of the relationship.
Yes.
And then because I didn't communicate that with you in the beginning, you know, like, we had a very big conversation about that. But just because I communicate that it was bothering me so much, you understood that. You actually acknowledge that I'm there with you nowadays. And then, which makes things so much easier, because at that time it used to make me feel like you don't even care that I'm there with you when you're annoyed with the traffic. In some way, it just made me feel very bad, like you don't care about me. But just because we communicated that, it's out of the way now. Oh, another thing. Last one. But man finds women who appreciate them attractive.
Oh yeah, men like to be appreciated, for sure. And not just taken for granted. I mean, even if it's just the small things we do, eventually you might start to get too comfortable with things we do. Like, we can't always continue to do more extravagant birthdays each year. Sometimes it might just be the small things, but yeah, if we're appreciated, we feel loved. And that's a big thing for men. If they feel loved, then they will reflect that, I think.
Actually, I was listening to this audiobook and it said women thinks that they need to give more to men, but it's actually the opposite. What they need to do is give more appreciation to men to get more love from them. So, like, if men do something, even the smallest thing, and you appreciate him and you give him thank you for doing that, he is encouraged to do more good things for you. That is how they show their love. The more you appreciate them, the more they do things that you can appreciate more.
Exactly. Well, men like to feel useful and
Yeah.
also appreciated for being useful, I guess.
Yeah.
That sums it up pretty well, I think. So, in a long-term relationship, what do you find attractive in a man?
I think lots of things that you mentioned, well, like being genuine from the beginning. Like lots of guys, I think, put so much effort in the beginning of the relationship, but they stop doing that over a long term. But you put lots of effort in relationship, even though we've been together for like almost 2 years now. In the beginning, when we go out, we used to, take care of our appearance a lot.
Yeah.
And we still do that. And I think the way you take care of yourself is like something that I find really attractive. Like the way you go to gym, you're into swimming, you're into bicycle, and also your passion. Like how you were so passionate about your skydiving before I met you, but you're still so passionate about it. And just you have something that you're so passionate about makes me think that you're so attractive. You're not just about relationship or your work. You have something that you genuinely enjoy.
Yes.
And I think I find that very attractive. Other things are like the way you said how you don't stop taking care of your partner. I think you take care of me really well in relationship. Like I always tell you, you will make my life really easy, and genuinely like very, very, very much appreciate that. And I think that is really attractive. Like, I don't know, it makes my heart very whole, full with happiness, and it makes me feel very loved. And because I'm someone who is like really into self-love and this stuff, that you doing those stuff makes me feel like you're adding more love into the love that I already have.
Oh, yeah.
And that makes me feel really good. And that is something that I really find attractive in man. Like someone who is so generous with their actions in relationship, or their words, or the way they do things in relationship, or for their loved ones. It doesn't have to be like money generous in showing the love. When men are not secretive about their girlfriend, when men are really open how much they love their girlfriend or wife, they're so sure about their partner. I think I find that really attractive. Other things are like communication, you said. I don't find men who are very secret about the things they're going through, or that is very reassuring, at least in relationship, and it makes me feel safe. That's the whole point. You should feel reassured and safe in relationship, that you're not going to get abandoned. You're safe with each other and you are loved.
Yeah, I think would be the same for me, in a sense that it's reassuring knowing that when you talk about your future, it's sort of both our lives. Not just you talking about your own future. Like if I feel like I'm included in your future vision, then that's reassuring, and it makes you feel loved as well.
Yeah. I think, lots of people say that you shouldn't talk about your babies or marries when you're in relationship. I'm like, how do you know where this is going without talking about those? Like other day, I was talking at work with my friend, and then I don't know, somehow our conversation led to marriage. And even though like we're a bit far away from marriage right now, but like we do talk about marriage a lot. And we have talked about like how we're gonna do 2 marriages, like one from my Hindu side and one from your side. So one in Nepal and one in Australia. And then he's like, you guys have already talked about marriage. And I told him, like, we also talked about babies already. And he's like, how long have you been together? And I go like, 1.5 years.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, you've already talked about babies to me? And I'm like, when are we supposed to talk about babies and marriage then?
Yeah.
Like, how do you know? Like, if you've already been in a relationship with this person for a year and you still don't know if you are going to marry, or like, and let's say you don't have to marry at that point, but at least you know this is going towards the marriage. That's the whole point of relationship. Or else you guys are just hooking up.
Well, yeah. I mean, it makes me wonder why people have that mindset. Like they should wait so long to talk about marriage and children and their futures together. Like, what is the reason behind it? Is it because they just want to hook up? Like, have they had that conversation that they just want to hook up? Or they just secretly acknowledging that they just want to hook up, but they don't want to talk about it? Mm-hmm. Or is it because they don't want to scare the other person away because they don't want to talk about the future too soon? Like what?
And other thing is, I feel like if someone is avoidant in relationship, avoidant person are always thinking about there is someone better than this person. And I think like if you're not talking about marriage or like future together, it doesn't necessarily have to be marriage, but like at least talking about future, the things that you're going to do together in future, like where are you going to visit? Are you going to visit your mom and dad if they are in different country or something like that? If you don't make any plan about future, then you're probably thinking there's someone's better than your partner. You're not going to be together in future. Like if you cannot see future together, then this relationship is not working. You're just delaying the breakup. That's all it is.
Yeah, pretty much. If you can't see a future and if you don't want to talk about a future together, I think that's a bit strange as well.
Yeah, I think it is. Because like when we started dating, we both knew what we wanted out of this relationship.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think it's about compatibility as well. Like if you just wanted a short-term relationship, then it wouldn't work out for me because I wanted a long-term relationship, like something that leads to marriage. But if you were a short-term guy, then we would not be compatible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how long are you supposed to wait until you should be talking about this stuff?
Yeah.
Well, you're just going to waste not only your time, but potentially each other's time.
Yeah, I think knowing where this relationship is going and having a good communication about that is something that keeps a relationship secure. Well, I know this video was supposed to be about how to be attractive in relationship, but I think this kind of just not explains attractiveness in relationship.
Yeah, well, you should be looking at the whole picture, like the whole thing together. If your relationship is not good, but you're still very attracted to this person, you're not really looking at the whole picture. Like something's going on there.
I think it's more like you're obsessed with that person, not that you're in love with that person.
Yeah, that to me seems like more of a biological influence, like your hormones and your emotions are taking over, and you find this person very physically attractive and they're releasing all the feel-good things, but you're not stepping back and looking at the whole thing.
Oh, the other thing is that you have to look how they behave with their mom or parents. The guys who don't treat their mother nicely will never treat you nicely. Because if someone who gave birth to them are not being treated nicely by them, how do you expect them to treat you nicely? And something that I really find attractive in men is that when they take care of their mom, when they respect their mom so much. I think that shows how much importance you give to the woman that is in your life. I think you can expect how you're gonna be treated in relationship by the way he treats his mom or parents. And I find that very attractive in you because your family is so amazing. I think your family is really open-minded. I really like how much effort you put is still for the family as well. Like in Christmas, you guys do like gift for each other. And it's not like fakeness there. Like, lots of families like just Christmas and then lighting up the trees or stuff. I don't think that your family is more into decoration or stuff. I think your family is more into connection and sharing stuff. And I really like that. I think it's just like how you grow up, how you're as a person because of that. Thank you so much for watching this video. And thank you so much for agreeing to do this. I really appreciate it.
That's okay. Thank you for having me and discussing.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was nice, yeah.
I know, it was awkward, but I think it was like our normal conversation we have.
Yes, except with sparkling wine.
And camera.
Yes. Hello.
Okay, maybe let us know what do you think about this podcast. Maybe you might like this podcast more than like the video that I do by myself. And if you think we should do it, let us know what should we talk about in our next video. So yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, because that would help me a lot. And I would really appreciate if you share this video as well. Let people know how can they make their relationship better and more loving.
Ooh. Yes.
And how they can make their partner feel more loved in relationship, I guess. Because it's not just about attractive. You know, how do I find my partner attractive is how he makes me feel. It's not about him at all. It's about me. Like how I feel because of him is what I find attractive. If that makes sense. Does it make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's never about the partner. It's always about you. When you're in a relationship, you have to think about how it's going to make him feel if I am showing up in relationship in this way. And that is how he will find you attractive. So yeah, this is it. We have come to the end of the video. I don't want to make the ending very long because I've been trying to end this for a while. So I will see you on my next video. I love you. Bye. Mwah.
Mwah.